right now with all these new people coming in, Cash and Pam and all the picks, RFK, I'm really enjoying the process of just trying to watch their actions and trying to figure out who's doing what and how much are they going to play to the money and play to the people. And it's just such a fascinating exercise in journalism of where do you kind of, and how much leeway do you give them? How much grace do you give them? Especially with the Epstein blackmail hanging as a cloud over the entire federal government. I don't think that any of those three are blackmailed, but I don't feel confident that I know that they're not.
Let's look at it. Here's a possibility other than blackmail. Negotiation.
Well, that's always a factor.
But instead of blackmail, if you are a government and you have information on someone who's an asset or someone who's very wealthy, and this person is like, hey, motherfucker, like, what are you doing? You're 26 times?
Yep.
How about you shut the fuck up from here out?
Yep.
No more Trump's Hitler.
Well, that's the definition of blackmail.
How about you say that we did a good job every now and again?
Yeah.
Give us a little credit.
Yeah.
Let's work something out here. It's not necessarily blackmail as much as it's negotiation.
I would argue that's indistinguishable.
Right. Unless you're getting money too. Like, I know.
No, blackmail is just I know something that you don't want out. And any level of threatening that it'll get out or,
Okay, but what if it goes the other way? What if the wealthy person contacts them and says, listen, I can make things very good for you. I can do this. I can do that. If I go to jail, this is not helping anybody.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, reverse. I mean,
that's the opposite. That's bribery, I guess?
Kind of. It's just, that's deal making. But I think that a lot of Epstein's targets were willing. I think that a lot of them, because I think that we're talking, it's not just Jeffrey Epstein, it's organized crime as a network. Like, he's just an employee of organized crime.
Right.
And I think that a lot of those people are basically saying, yeah, I want into the club. Because if you are like a Reid Hoffman, or allegedly, if you're one of those guys and you want more contracts or you want more deals, like allegedly. And like, let's be clear, just because I say something on Joe's podcast does not mean that Joe fucking agrees with me, CNN. Thank you. Because like, I'm a crazy fucker. And I got all kinds of theories about Epstein. But like, I think that a lot of them were willing, because I think a lot of them are, I mean, if you're sick enough to rape a child, like on Jeffrey Epstein's island, you're sick enough to want into that club.
Well, for sure, throughout history, there have been pedophiles. That's a fact. For sure, some pedophiles get to prominent positions of power. That's a fact, right?
And the traits that do the same, like
Jimmy Savile in fucking England, like that. And that should put it out to bed for anybody.
Prince Andrew, Bill
Sandusky,
Gates, allegedly.
I don't know about him. I never heard that, but Sandusky, I've heard.
You never heard about Bill Gates?
I didn't know he was into kids.
Oh, dude! I mean, he's one of Epstein's closest confidants. And
here's the thing about the Epstein thing. Were they all underage? Were some of them?
Not at all. No, it's very complex.
Right.
And
so some of them were in their 20s. Like one girl who was complaining, or I shouldn't say complaining. That's very mild. Yeah. One girl who alleging that she was 20 at the time. She was saying.
Yeah.
So just because someone has been to the island and has been compromised, right, doesn't necessarily mean that they've been compromised with underage people. But I think there's a specific group that wants underage people.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say this is not a conspiracy theory. It has been that way throughout history. There
All
are
of history.
Many, many, many conspiracies that have been uncovered, and criminal investigations have found that people were trafficking children. It's been done. So this is not like vampires.
No.
We're not talking about werewolves.
Child trafficking rings get exposed and brought down around the world relatively frequently, like at least once a year, but they usually don't make big news because they're usually not like Epstein.
We know there are pedophiles. That's a real thing. We know there are psychos who get very wealthy and want specific things.
Yeah.
Look, there's people that drink rhino horn tea.
Exactly.
Right? Why do they drink rhino horn tea? Because the rhino is so endangered. It's so gangster to have rhino horn
experience.
Exactly. Elite experience.
And what you're talking about is this. It's such an important concept. Is that some people, like, if you wanted to pay for an underage prostitute, you can pay for that. There are women that would be prostitutes underage. The people that we're talking about in the Epstein files that wanted underage girls, specifically because they weren't all underage. Some of them wanted overage girls. Some of them were just scientists. They weren't all compromised. But the ones that wanted underage girls, they specifically want what they couldn't have. Because if you wanted sex that you're allowed to have, you just wanted a young girl, you could just go pay for that. What Epstein was doing is he was recruiting girls that were from like American families and kind of tricking them and coercing them. Like they wanted a girl that they wanted the experience of coercing. Some of these people, not all of them, want the experience of I am doing this to a girl that I am coercing, I am manipulating, or I'm just straight up being physically violent to get this thing. Because if you wanted a willing 16-year-old, those do exist.
But the thing about these really wealthy, high-profile people, and Eric Weinstein was highlighting this to me once. He was saying,
"Smart dude, I like
very
him.
smart dude."
Yeah.
And he wasn't making any accusations at all, but he was just talking overall. He goes, I think there are people out there that can facilitate experiences for discrete clients, and that it's very valuable. Yeah. Like, look at the guy who gave Epstein that house in Manhattan. He gave him
You mean Leslie Wexner?
Yeah, the guy from Victoria's Secret.
Dude.
He gave him a $60 million mansion.
He did way more than that. He signed his entire power of attorney to him.
You're so cool. I'm going to give you a house.
No, he gave him the keys to the entire castle of all of Victoria's Secret and Abercrombie and Fitch and all of L Brands.